Recording in progress.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here, for those of you in the room, and for those of you joining us on Zoom. Appreciate you being here. This is the Maximizing an Open House class as a continued way of trying to encourage you guys in a really wonderful way of prospecting, not only for buyers, but also for new sellers. And now that the market is sort of stabilizing and the car market report came out yesterday, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it yet, but no surprises of what I've been telling you over the last couple of months. Sales are down, prices are up, days on market are longer, so there are not as many multiple contracts. And when that happens, that's when open houses begin to be effective again. When you know that the property is going to be on the market for at least 2 or 3 weeks or longer, it gives you an opportunity to use the open house as a way of prospecting for new business. It not only does it allow you to appease the seller by saying, hey, I'm going to do these. And just as a caveat, there are some houses that should never be held open. They're either too far out in the boonies and you're never going to get anybody there, or the house is not in good condition, or whatever. So when you have those kind of listings, you need to make sure that in your marketing presentation, you're saying, hey, the open house is not going to work. So I'm going to spend that time that I would normally spend on open house marketing it in a different way. But this morning, what we're doing is we're talking about how to maximize an open house. Because again, as I said earlier, if you do an open house correctly, the amount of time that you spend prospecting it, the amount of time you spend promoting it, even if nobody shows up at the open house, you're going to get business from it because you used it as your reason for reaching out to people in a lot of different ways. And that's what we're going to talk about. But what I want to do first is, again, remind you that you not only have me as a trainer and hopefully, as somebody who's helping you learn how to do the business differently, differentiating yourself, but you also have Howard Hanna University. And you also have the Leading RE Institute. And I want to show you right now if this works. See, it's already happening. Why did she come on before I even ready for her to come on? Let's see, where is she now? Yeah, right here. I think this is it.
Avoid mentioning the idea to sellers or cringe when they ask about them. You may think they're a thing of the past, something that will just waste your time. Yes, they do take some time, effort, and planning, but if you do them right, you will harness the power of open houses and use them to grow your business. Then you'll look forward to them and be excited to talk to sellers about this aspect of your marketing strategy and engage them in the process too. There are so many great reasons to use open houses as a regular part of your sales process. Perhaps you've just been looking at them the wrong way. So why should you do open houses? I'll give you lots of whys. Why number 1, the most obvious reason to identify a buyer for the home held open. Before the internet, the only way to get potential buyers into a house without an appointment was to hold an open house. Buyers still want to experience a home in person. The internet has just made it easier for them to do their research online. Viewing the interior and exterior photos, comparing prices, and reading about the neighborhood, etc. That means if they're making the effort to visit an open house, they're doing more than just kicking the tires. Now a higher percentage of visitors are ready, willing, and able to buy, aside from the neighbors popping in, but we'll get to them later. Aside from internet shoppers, buyers who've had their eye on the property but haven't made a move may come closer to actually purchasing. Open houses can create a sense of urgency for prospects who've already seen the house and are interested but haven't made an offer. Did you know, according to NAR, 50% of buyers go to open houses and use them as a key part of their home search? That leads us to why number 2. Why number 2? To identify a buyer for your listings or other listings within your brokerage. Yes, your first priority is always to the seller of the home being held open. But if the home isn't the right fit for the buyers coming in, share information about the other options you have available. Why number 3? To make contact with current sellers who may be looking for a new agent to represent them once their listing agreement expires or are ready to give up FSBO efforts. Why number 4? To meet future buyers and sellers. Even if holding a home open doesn't generate a sale for that home, you're creating visibility and a reputation for yourself. If you present yourself as a great agent, you'll gain future clients. This means even those neighbors that I mentioned earlier who just pop in are actually future prospects and can even lead you to referrals if you make a good impression. The possibilities are endless. Be sure to treat everyone who walks in the door as a valuable prospect. Why number 5? To improve your skills and reputation as an agent. Open houses give you so many opportunities to increase market knowledge and sharpen skills that help build business. You will improve your marketing and communication skills, build credibility and trust while widening your network, demonstrate your involvement in the market, and learn more about existing inventory in the area. Open houses are a great way for you to get a better understanding of what buyers are looking for and at what prices. If you treat your open houses as fact-finding missions to learn about what topics and concerns are on buyers' minds, you'll be able to use this knowledge to close more business and just maybe get ideas for your next blog or property description. In addition to all the benefits that are in it for you, sellers perceive open houses as a valued service that demonstrates your commitment to marketing and selling their home. Include open houses in your business plan and be consistent. If you're a new agent, volunteer to hold homes open for other agents at your company. Now that you know the benefits of open houses, it may be tempting to run out there and hold an open house for all of the homes in your inventory. But we haven't covered the key to getting the most out of each one of your open houses. If you want to find out what it is, stick around for the apply section.
All right, so that's from the Leading RE Institute. There's another section right behind it that goes in the apply, but I'm going to be doing the apply this morning. So I really wanted you just to see that type of resource is out there for you. Another resource that you have, if I can pull it up. Let's see here. If you go to Hannah University, let's see here. Let's see, is it? For some reason it's not pulling up. But anyway, if you go to Hannah University, there are things in there for the open houses as well. The one that I pulled up to show you all is from Howard Hanna University. It says, why hold an open house? And it's an hour and 20-minute class. Basically what we're doing here this morning, but probably if you watch that, they'll give you different ideas than I'm giving you, right? And so it's worthwhile. If you're going to spend time doing open houses, it's worthwhile to put yourself in a position to do them as best as you can. And that's where we get into maximizing the open house. And let me just pull up the agenda or the outline for folks that aren't here. Nope, that's not it. There it is. Right. I can share the screen so that pops up. Yep, there it is. So hopefully you guys will be able to see this. How to maximize an open house. And as Beth Ann, Kristen, Logan, as you're listening, if you have questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Be happy to answer them for you. But just as the video just showed us, what are the values that cause you to do business in the way you do it? That's what the first thing that you're wanting to do. She was talking about all the whys, right? In that video. I'm talking about, why should somebody use you versus using somebody else? Some of you are fairly new. Why would they want to use me? I'm brand new in the business, whatever. Well, the reason they want to use you is you're well-trained and that you're getting the information that you need to help people make an educated decision. And you've got a great company behind you with all the tools and all the different things that you're going to need that we'll talk about over this next hour or so. you're going to be, focused on doing the best you can for them, caring for them. They're going to see that you're somebody that really wants what's best for them. And as you begin to understand that you do have something to offer folks who use you, then it's going to help you make your open houses more successful. And just as she said in the video, I'd encourage you, if you haven't done open houses already, shadow other agents. Again, we're getting to a place where there are open houses almost every weekend. You can actually check with Jeannie, who's the staff person in the Desire Crossroads office, but she's also on here on Monday. She's the one who puts together the open houses and sends an email out. You should get that email that talks about open houses that we're holding open. You can go to the Real Estate Weekly. We advertise our open houses in the Real Estate Weekly, obviously on Sundays and Daily Progress. We try to advertise the open houses, but the bottom line is whether it's our open houses or another company's open houses, there's nothing better than going and previewing. We talked about that on Tuesday as far as expireds and for sale by owner. Expired for sale by owners. And by the way, there's some really good stuff on expireds and for sale by owners in the Leading RE Institute. As I was looking for the open house stuff today, there's 6 or 7 modules, and they're only 8 or 9 minutes a piece. But there's 6 or 7 modules in there that give you really good tips on the for sale by owner and the expireds. But the point I'm making is as we talked about on Tuesday, previewing houses is really good to get an idea of where the market is, where the prices are going, and what's happening out in the marketplace. So don't feel like you just have to go to our open houses. Visit other open houses. Hey, I'm Pat Rannigan. I'm with Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. I'm got a buyer that's interested in this price range, or I'm getting a listing over in this area, and I just want to stop by and see, what this house is like. And one of 2 things is going to happen. One, you're going to get a chance to see the house and know it. The second thing is you're going to see that agent and how they handle open houses. They may not say much to you because you're an agent, but if you hang around and you're looking at house and stuff, you can watch them. You can see what kind of sign up process they use. Do they wander behind the people? Do they ask questions? How do they go about it? There's some agents that do it really well, and there are a lot of agents that don't do it well at all. A lot of agents use the age-old strategy for open houses, and that's decide I'm going to do an open house, quickly put together an ad, get out there and put some signs, and then pray that somebody comes. That's a lot of the systems that people put in place, and you'll see as I talk today, there's so much more that you can do when you're doing open houses correctly. So first, shadow other agents. Second, ask an agent to watch your open house. Hey, would you come and just hang out with me and see how I do and give me tips? Another thing you can do in that situation is ask Jay to join you as a lender. Hey, I'm going to be doing an open house. Would you come, for an hour or so? So if people have questions about financing, I can say, well, here's Jay Dominic. He's a partner in our mortgage partner in our company, and he can answer all your questions. And if you go online and put some information in, he can give you a good idea of what you qualify for and blah, blah, blah. So, but then be able to say, I want your feedback. Let me know how you think I did. What could I do better to improve? One of the things that I always talk about with open houses is what got me over the fear, right? My fear was that I was going to come across as like this hard sell used car salesperson, right? They're going to come in and I'm just going to, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to offend anybody. I wanted, to go well. And so a lot of times early on in my career, I just lost people. I never got them to sign in. I just had no way of figuring it out. And I finally faced my fears because this was something that I needed to know that I was doing that was going to matter. But the way I got over it, and this is just me, and some of you know this, the fear is false evidence appearing real. Most people are not offended. Yeah, people are coming in. There are some people that come in thinking you're going to lock the door behind them and not let them out until they buy the house, right? They come in with their arms crossed and they don't want to, they want you to get too close and they don't want to give up much information. It's kind of like for me, like going to Joseph Banks for clothes. You walk in the front door of Joseph Banks and there's a guy there. Can I help you? No, I'm just looking. All right. Somebody walks in an open house. Can I help you? No, I'm just looking. And then you get to the middle of the store Joseph Banks, and the guys at the cash register, the woman's at the cash register, hey, you need some help? Nope, I'm just looking, right? And then you get to the back of the store and you see they've got the buy one, get two free suits, or they have blue blazers, which is what you were hoping for, and they're on sale. And the next person says, can I help you? Yeah, I'm looking for a blue blazer, 41 long. Do you have any of those? Because I'm seeing something that I want. Well, it's the same thing in an open house. Somebody comes in, I don't want any help. No, you can't help me. But then as they go through the house, they start looking and go, wait, this may be a house that we're interested in. And all of a sudden they begin to open up because now they're ready. And so the key is for me, facing the fear and knowing all I got to do is be polite. All I got to do is be welcoming, hospitable. And we'll talk about how to do that. But the other thing that I did was I began to envision, again, you have to understand when I was in the business, average sales prices were $100,000, right? So I thought about $100,000 times a 3% commission, $3,000. So I started literally visualizing people walking into the house with a paper bag with $3,000 in it. And my job was to get it away from them. And if I didn't handle them well and get their information, even if they weren't interested in that house, if I didn't handle it and get their information, they got back in the car with the $3,000 and drove away, and I was never going to get a chance to get that money from them. And so it's kind of a crazy thing, but I literally would just kind of close my eyes and say, okay, here they come, $3,000. You know, do I want to get that $3,000? Yes, I do. Okay, well then I got to have a system in place that allows me to get the information I need to be able to follow up with them. And that's where it comes into this whole aspect of building rapport, gaining credibility, and showing people you care. We talk about that all the time in this company. Those three key factors. Do I have a way of building rapport? Am I going to be able to gain credibility? Do I have a system in place to show them that I care? And in all three of those, you do. And if you're not an outgoing person and you find it hard to kind of engage people in conversation, then just ask open questions. You know, why, how, when, where, you know, so glad you're here. What brought you here today? Did you come from the sign? Did you come from the ad? You know, whatever, just, you know, and then, okay, great. You know, are you going to be buying something now, or are you just kind of looking around? The whole thing, you're asking them questions that can't be answered with yes or no answers. And every time they respond to something, you respond back and another question. That's how you build the rapport. Then, and we'll show you how you do this in the application part of this, you're going to be able to prove your credibility, because you're going to be able to tell them, if you do all the things I tell you to do, you're going to be able to show them that you're credible, that you have knowledge that is going to help them find the right house for themselves. And then finally, along with yourself, but also with Howard Hanna's help in GoHanna H Suite, you have the ability to have a system to follow up with them. If you use the open to close tool, and Vincent can help you with this. You've got an open house. You can have Vincent create a QR code, which is an open house register. And all they have to do is put their phone over it, and up comes the thing. They put their name, their email address in, and you can create whatever questions you have on that. You know, I'd love for you to open this up. And once you've seen the house, I'd love for you to tell me if you think it's priced right. Are there things that we could improve on, or whatever? Give them some reasons for filling out. As soon as they fill it out, it goes into your CRM. It goes into your GoHanna H Suite Engage, the CRM. It literally fills that information in for you. And then the really cool thing is 2 hours later, it sends an automatic email to them. Kirsten, thank you so much for coming by my open house today. If I can help you in any way, let me know. I'll give you a call or shoot you an email tomorrow to follow up and see if I can be of help. You custom made a message, and 2 hours later, you don't have to do anything. It just happens. And then they give you the information and you put them into Real Scout, and Real Scout starts searching for the right kind of properties. You begin to gain the credibility from them. Whoa, this person really has information. And then you show them that you care by the follow-up systems that are in place. So preliminary questions is as least important as the open house itself. Proper marketing maximizes the opportunity. And here's the key. This is what I was talking about. It starts 10 days in advance. The proper marketing of an open house to maximize your open house needs to start 10 days in advance. And so what I'd encourage you to do is think about 2 open houses a month, where 10 days before it, you're marketing for that open house. And if you just do nothing else but market that open house for 10 days, it's going to give you reasons to do things every single day to market that open house. And we're going to talk about that. Social media, and it's down below, we'll talk about more. Social media reaches more people. It gives you feedback as to how your marketing efforts are going. You create an event on Facebook, a week ahead of time. You create an event, open house, 245 Bennington Road, 1 to 3 on Sunday. And you can literally create an event that you do, and people will start putting in, I'm interested, I'm going, no thank you. And you start getting feedback from people, and you're promoting that out there, and they may know somebody who wants to see that house on Bennington. And all of a sudden they share that. Hey, there's an open house a week from Sunday in this particular house. So we'll talk more about that. Looking for more listings. A lot of people, again, like what she said in the video, people just think about this is just a way of prospecting for buyers. I absolutely think it can be as much for prospecting for sellers as it is for buyers. When I was in the business, I didn't work with buyers. I only worked with sellers. And so when I did open houses, all my marketing was about how do I get more listings? And an example of this, and I think you've got it on page 4, in your handout. Let me see if I can go down there real quick. If you like, if you're talking about holding an open house in your farm, to make at least 20 personal contacts in a non-threatening manner. It also gets you a chance to do some real prospecting. So just as we did on page 1 there, 1 or 2 days prior to the open house, deliver about 20 written invitations to the nearest 20 neighbors. Most successful farming agents suggest that you visit the 5 neighbors on either side of the property to be held open, and the 10 directly across the street. The purpose of the personal delivery is to allow you to meet and chat with them. And so this is why the 10 days prior, maybe it takes me a couple of days, but I'm going to go over and I'm going to knock on people's door and say, I'm holding the house right down the street. I'd love for you to come by. If you know of anybody who's thinking about buying in the neighborhood, I'd love for you to tell them about it. I'm now reaching out to the neighbors in the hopes that I'm going to build a relationship with them. This is as it relates to farming, but it could be on any open house. I'm trying to get another listing in that particular area.
And like Michael's boss and Frank and Aunt, like everybody. Yeah.
Kristen. Okay. Conversation. Hi, I'm Blank of Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler. I just want to invite you to stop by the open house. I'll be holding this Sunday at blank. You might know the neighbor. They're not going to be home. So if you'd like to stop by, I'll be glad to show you the place. If you know anyone who's thinking about buying, you could tell them about the open house or even bring them with you. Do you know of anyone who's thinking about buying? If yes, then ask if they're working with an agent, and you take it in that realm. The other thing you can do, and we'll talk about this a little bit later too in the specifics, is you might have what I call a nosy neighbor hour. And the nosy neighbor hour is the same thing. You're inviting the people. You're going to do an open house from, say 2 to 4. Well, you invite the neighbors. Hey, I'm doing an open house from 2 to 4, but I'm going to have a nosy neighbor hour from 1 to 2. Only the neighbors are invited. So come on by in that hour. I'm going to have the refreshments. I'd love a chance to meet you, give you a chance to go through the house, see if you know anybody who might be interested in buying it. And that gives you, it makes them think, whoa, this person's going the extra effort, to market the property. So looking for more listings, 10 on the right side, 10 on the left, 20 across, market to the neighbors, offer refreshments, ask other agents to send their clients over with their card. And we'll talk about that, using constant contact that our staff will do for you to get the emails out to other agents saying, I'm holding this house open. If you have somebody who's thinking about buying in this price range in this area, please send them and I'll honor you. Let them tell me that you're working with them and I'll let you know that they came. I'm trying to get as many people through that open house as possible. So getting flyers out to other agents. And then, again, asking everyone to leave their name and info on a sign-in sheet. I'd like to have a log for the seller. Pretty easy to do right now by saying, hey, I'm registering you just in case we should have a COVID, scenario. I want to be able to get back to you and let you know that, somebody that was here between 1 and 2, called me and let me know that they tested positive for COVID. But even better than that, getting used to and using the Howard Hanna Open to Close. That is such a great tool. That there's a QR code, they just scan it and they put the information in, or you open up. They don't really understand the scanning stuff. You have an iPad and you just have it open and they type in and their information, and it goes into your Engage. And so now you have the ability again to use the Howard Hanna Open to Close, and you can also place them into Real Scout. You find out what they're looking for, the type of house they're looking for. You've got their information. You put them into the Real Scout, and Real Scout starts searching. And when a property comes up on the market that fits their criteria, they're going to get an email from you saying, hey, this has happened, and you're going to get a copy of it, knowing that it got sent to them. Now, again, we're trying to figure out ways to get them to register. The best way to get people to register is to have them be able to win something. Have them be able to win something. Almost everybody will sign up if it's something worthwhile that they have a chance to win. So, advertise a restaurant for a month in exchange for a $50 gift card. What do I mean by that? You go to one of your favorite restaurants that you go to regularly and say, hey, I'm going to be marketing a couple of open houses this month. Would you give me a $50 gift card for your restaurant? Alcohol not included, if that's what you want to do or whatever. But will you give me a $50 gift card, and I will market your restaurant this month in all my social media and all my flyers and things like that. And what happens is you can market with one gift card the whole month. You can have open houses. You can say to agents, if you preview the house and send me feedback form, you can have that in the house saying, an agent comes through and says, hey, see that, if you're previewing this home, please send me your feedback. If so, we'll enter you in to a drawing for a $50 gift card to Guajiros or Oak Social or wherever your favorite restaurant is, and people that you have a relationship with that would be willing to do that for you. It doesn't have to be done every time. You can just get one a month. So it's a and hopefully the restaurant gives it to you. If not, maybe you offer to split it with them. That's a minimal cost for a lot of different ways of trying to get information about your listing. Agent feedback, open houses, those kinds of things. The broker open, you do a broker open on Tuesday, come by a broker open, have a chance to win a $50 gift card, and drawing to be held on August 31st. So they realize that it's not just that day that they're coming, you're doing a drawing over a month's time period. And so you can keep your costs down to a minimum. Open house sponsored by X restaurant, enter a drawing to win a $50 gift card, and then you just start over again the next month. People love to click on videos. There's just no doubt more and more the stickiness of things that you are doing. If you do videos, there's more often a chance that people will go there. And just like we just saw on the Zoom, sometimes you're in Instagram, sometimes you're in Facebook, and the thing just starts anyway. You didn't even want to click on it. You're just kind of scrolling down and looking at pictures, and all of a sudden you come to one and there's a reel. And there's, it's all of a sudden you're watching a reel that, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. And I don't know about you, but that's happened to me sometimes. I got a little bored in a meeting or whatever. So I'm sitting back in the back scroll, and all of a sudden this reel comes on and the volume's on, and you never can turn it off as fast because now you're freaking. But the point being is, again, couple 3 days in advance, right? On a Friday, you're doing open house on a Sunday, you go to the house. Hey, this is Jennifer Kirby. I'm over here at, such and such property. Just want to take a couple quick minutes and show you what a wonderful yard this is. This is a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath house that I'm going to be holding open Sunday from 2 to 4. And look at the mountain views in this house. Isn't this amazing? And you show it to them, and it's on a cul-de-sac, and look how quiet the cul-de-sac is. And in just about 10 or 15 seconds, you're just saying, come on by. Sunday, there's an event posted on my Facebook page. Come on by. I'd love to have you come. And then on Sunday, you do another one right before you start. Hey, it's Jennifer Kirby. As I said, I'm going to be here. I'm at Clay Court for the next couple hours. Would love for you to stop by and see this house and just walk in the house, open the door and just kind of walk in the house and say, look at how, lovely this home is. I'd love to have you come by in the next couple hours. I'll be here. Please stop by. 2 things. 1, people who are on see it. right? They pop up and they view it, but more important, it stays on your Facebook page. And so anybody that comes and scrolls and gets on your page, that stays on your page. So they're going through and they go, oh, I didn't know there was a listing on Clay. And it could be a week later, 10 days later, they reach out and say, hey, I saw your video. Sorry, I missed the open house. Is there a time I could, see that property? So Facebook Live, I think, is a really good way of doing things. You can do it real quick. You don't have to be scared of it. It's not about really being, like a professional newscaster or anything. It's just you, talking about, hey, I'm going to be here. And a friend, Laura Webb, down in Lynchburg, does this really well. I mentored her and a group of younger, less experienced agents around the state during COVID. We did Zoom every week with companies all around the state. And I was the mentor for that group. And she took this on and she does them great. They're just 10, 15 seconds, but it just communicates, hey, and it causes people to want to see it. Shorter the better. And then the next thing is, even if it's not your listing, write an ad yourself. Go see the house, look at it. What do you like about it? And sit down and write the language that you would like to have used in the ad, in the Real Estate Weekly or the Daily Progress, that you would like to have used in the car when you put the open house into the car open house MLS. You have language in there that really causes somebody to say, man, that's a house I want to see. Because so often, the agents are just very quickly just kind of writing up an ad copy and they're not really spending a lot of time, thinking about it. And so you get left with whatever they wrote. You may have some things that you would want to say that you feel like would cause people to come to the open house versus, maybe an ad that's just in the paper generically. If there's nothing else you hear today, this is a great tip right here, if I do say so myself. Hold open houses later than what's customary to eliminate the competition. So a lot of people, if you go in and look at open houses, they're almost always 1 to 3, 2 to 4. They're 2 hours long, 1 to 3, 2 to 4. What I would recommend is 2 to 5. Or if I'm only going to do 2 hours, I would do 3 to 5, especially with daylight savings time when it's not getting dark too early. Because what happens is, one, you do your nosy neighbor hour before your regular open house. 2, if you hold it till 5, you're going to be the last one open. And if there are people that are out there serious about finding a house, they don't want to fold up the tent at 4 o'clock. They want to keep looking. So one, there's a much better chance that whoever's out there that day, they're going to see your open house because you're the only one that's open from 4 to 5. So they've scheduled their little tour and they're coming to you last because they know you're the last one that's going to be open. 2, guess what else? You're the last one they're going to see. And when you're prepared, like you're going to be prepared, they're going to have gone through other open houses and go, oh my gosh, this person is off the chart, more professional than anybody else I've seen today. This is the kind of person I want to work with. You're going to be the last one to get an opportunity to talk with them, and the things that you're going to do and the things that you're going to give them, they're going to say, yes, we would like your help. So, and I'm going to tell you, I talk about this all the time, and very rarely does anybody do it. Very rarely does anybody do it, but I just don't understand it, because when I held open houses and I went an hour later than everybody else, my open houses always had more traffic than anybody else's did, because I was the only one left from 4 to 5. Get to know the neighbors. Ask what they like about the neighborhood. This is another thing about going and knocking around and talking to the neighbors. How long have you lived here? What do you like about it? I'd love to hear what you like about the neighborhood so I can tell other people when they come to the open houses what you like. Oh, I didn't know there was a trail that led to such and such. Oh, I didn't realize that the neighborhood had, the ability to, that Fairview pool is not that far away and you can join that pool and whatever. You can get information from them. And plus the fact, what are you doing with the neighbors? You're building rapport. You're going to gain credibility with them because they're going, whoa, nobody else has ever knocked on my door and asked me about the neighborhood before holding an open house. This person's really going about doing their job in a different way, right? The other thing you do with the people right across the street or next door to each other is, hey, My name's Pat Rang. I just want to let you know I'm gonna be holding an open house tomorrow here from 3 to 5. So if you see a strange car in the driveway, that's mine. And I'll be holding an open house, and hopefully there'll be several cars that are come by. Would you do me a favor? And if you see anything suspicious, would you let me know? Here's my cell number. Would you call me and let me know? And one, that's a safety issue for you. That if they see something that doesn't look right or whatever. Two, you're building a relationship with them, because afterwards you're going to write them a handwritten note. Thank you so much. Appreciate meeting you. Thanks for, watching out, for me as I was doing this open house. Another thing a lot of people don't know from a safety standpoint is that you, like in Albemarle County, you can call Albemarle County, not emergency line, of course, and let them know you're going to be holding a house open on, River Inn Lane. And if nothing's crazy going on, they will send a car and to go through the neighborhood a couple times during that open house, so that if there is anybody who's wanting to do something, dastardly, they second guess it, because all of a sudden they see a county police car going through the neighborhood or whatever. I didn't know that until just recently that they offer that type of service. I'm guessing the city does too. I just knew the county did. So get to know the neighbors. For those who lease in the neighborhood, oh, you don't own, you're renting here. Okay. Would you mind if I got your information and stay in touch with you, so that when your lease ends, maybe I can help you if you're going to, look for another rental, or maybe even think about buying. I'd love the opportunity. That's the kind of thing that nobody else is asking them. And you're finding that information out. Oh, how long have you lived here? 6 months. Oh, great. How do you like it? Great. So you closed on the house in January. No, we're renting. Oh, really? Okay. Well, are you thinking about staying in the house, or are you thinking about doing something different next year? And all of a sudden you've got an opportunity to build a relationship with those people, gain credibility with them, and then with your system, show them you care. So you ask if you can follow up with them, send them information, and then you start putting them in. You can get them, again, GoHanna has a great neighborhood newsletter, and you can go in and put their address, their information in, and click on neighborhood news. And on a monthly basis, they're going to get the neighborhood news sent to them via email. Have 2 to 4 financing components written on the flyers. This is where Jay can come in. Monthly payments, for different types of finance. Right now, what a lot of people worry about, interest rates, right? So have 2 or 3 different things on your open house information about different types of interest rates. Maybe a town mortgage offering talk to your seller if it's your listing, and maybe do a buy down where the interest rate's 5.5, and they pay say on a $350,000 mortgage, they pay $3,500, and so they have a buy down to 4.5%. That could be the difference. Well, what do you mean? Well, the seller's willing to put some money into this so that you can start your financing at 4.5% the first year, and then 5%, after that. And Jay can put those things together in a little flyer that you can hand to people, and that may make a differentiator. Somebody comes in and they don't really understand financing, and you give them that flyer, and they talk to Jay, and Jay gets them qualified, and they really like Jay. And the next thing you know, they're calling you up and say, hey, thanks for getting me in touch with Jay. This is what I can qualify for. Can you help me find something to buy? You just never know what's going to make the difference. And he's happy to help you with those flyers. And you might also talk to him about co-marking some target cards about the open house, mailing something out to let people know. If you want to have a bigger exposure, you might talk to Vincent about what's called Every Door Direct, which is a postal service deal that by carrier route, they'll mail out the postcards at the most reasonable rates, even better than bulk rate, for 2 reasons. 1, it's less expensive, and 2, it goes there the next day. Bulk rate mail could take 7 to 10 days. That mail could get there after your open house is over, right? So you talk to Vincent about Every Door Direct, and you might do some target cards and talk to Jay about sharing it with you, so that you've got town mortgage on it, you've got you on it, and stop by and see us at the open house on such and such. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to make the house feel like a home. We want to make the house feel like a home. So first of all, we want the seller to have that house in great shape and gone a half an hour to 15 minutes before the open house starts. So if you're doing a 2 to 5 open house, you want that seller having cleaned the house up, made the beds, turned the lights on, whatever, and they're gone at 1:30. Because there are always going to be people that come early. Again, the people that are really serious about buying, and they're looking at all those 1 to 3 open houses, they're going to be someplace early because they got lots of open houses to see that day until 3 o'clock, right? And so some people are going to show up early. So again, having the seller understand that that's their responsibility, have it nicely cleaned so that when you walk in, you can take over that house and turn it into a very hospitable open house. I used to have an open house kit in my car, and it was one of those archive boxes, heavy cardboard boxes that stayed in the trunk of my car, and it had a cookie sheet. It had a basket, it had napkins, it had little cinnamon potpourri, it had a spatula, everything I needed so that I could go to the grocery store after church and buy one of those, now they come in buckets. It used to come in tubes of Pillsbury cookies, oatmeal raisin, chocolate chip that you cut in quarters, and you put them on the cookie sheet, and they just were great cookies, and they make the house smell, right? As long as I didn't burn them, make the house smell like, golly damn, walking into somebody's house, somebody, and they made cookies for me, right? Well, 2 reasons. 1, it makes the house smell good, but 2, especially if they're kids, it causes the people to linger a little bit because you've got cookies for them if the parents are okay with that. And then depending on whether it's cold or it's hot, I would buy apple cider. And the apple cider would be cold in the summer, and I would put it on the stove and heat it up in the winter. So I had this whole system in place, and it was all in this little box. And I cleaned it all up, put it back in my car for the next open house. Didn't have to think about it. It was just always there. All I had to do is go to the Safeway or Giant or wherever I was going and get the stuff I needed that couldn't stay in the car. And then, again, leaving the house in better shape than you found it. And remembering that it's the seller's responsibility to have the house in the best shape possible, not yours. And then make sure the seller has it ready for the open house. And again, this is, COVID-19. We're still dealing with those kind of things. If they can, keep it clean, have it all cleaned up, and leave as many doors open as they can, cabinets open, so that people don't have to touch anything. They can just be looking in and seeing the different things. Not as big a deal right now, but I think there's still more people than not that are pleased when they go to an open house and feel like, that the house has been prepared right. When talking to potential buyers, tell them about other open houses or other houses that you've seen recently. If this one's out of their price range, and again, this is where the previewing pays off, knowing your market. You're out there previewing, the houses that this house is going to compete with. I kind of think about it as $50,000 below, $50,000 above. So if I'm doing an open house and it's 450, I want to know everything that's on the market around there that's at 400 up to 500, because a lot of people come in on signs. They don't know what the price is. They're coming in just because they saw the sign, they like what it looked like from the outside. They may be somebody that needs to qualify for less or that they need more. And so what I want to do is I want to preview and know all those houses. So when they come in and I can tell that this isn't the right house for them, then I would say, hey, Kirsten, I can see that this house isn't right for you. You need at least 4 bedrooms, right? Yeah, we really probably need 5. Well, I want to tell you there's a house around the corner that's not too much more. That's a 5-bedroom. It has a 2-car garage, and you might want to take a look at it. Oh, great. Thank you very much. Or it might be held open, right? And you can say, and I know it's being held open today. Here's the flyer. If you go there, tell them that I sent you there, right? But if it's not open, you say this house is not open today, but drive by it if you like it. Guess what? I'm going to be here till 5 o'clock today. If you like it, come on back or call me. Here's my cell number, and I can arrange to go show it to you after I get done at 5. Nobody else is going to have done that. Nobody's else going to know the market. They're saying, oh, well, let me get on to the MLS and I'll search and see what's out there and whatever. No, if we can preview and know all the different houses around us that we're competing with, and we can talk about them knowledgeably, what are we doing? We're building credibility, right? And then we're saying, and then what you can do is literally print out the houses that you think are the ones that are on the market that might be interested. And you can have little packages of those to hand to them. Here are the houses that I think in this price range are ones that you'd like to see. only 1 or 2 of them are open today, or none of them are open today, but you can drive by them. And then if you see anything you like, give me a call. My information's on the bottom of each and every one of these, right? Nobody else is handing them that kind of information. Nobody else is saying, I know the market better than anybody else that you're talking to. So tell them about other houses. Communicates that you'd like to represent them if you're the hosting agent. If they say they're working with another agent, ask if they've got anything in writing. If they say no, well, then my language is, well, I'd love the opportunity to earn the right to represent you. Is that something that you would be interested in learning more about and finding a time to set time to get together with them? Obviously being respectful, using professional language. And then again, depending on how well you did as far as getting people to sign in, send a thank you note to everyone you made personal contact with. Now, some of them, you're not going to have their mailing address. So it's going to be an email thank you note, but you're individually, not everybody in the same email. Dear Jennifer, dear Pat, dear Kirsten, thank you for coming by my open house. Beth, I really appreciate you coming by my open house today. If I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to contact me. Here's my card, or my information is down below, whatever the case may be. And then again, send a follow-up to anyone you invited who didn't make it. So again, the people that are in the neighborhood that you invited and they couldn't come, send something back out. Thank you so much. I'm sorry you couldn't make it by the open house. If I can ever help you in any way, please let me know. There's just so many things in those 10 days and then afterwards that you can use to increase your sphere of influence just by focusing on the open house. Quick social media suggestions, create Facebook events we talked about, Facebook Live promo we talked about, promote Facebook Live video after the showing, pin to the top of your feed. Some people don't know you can do that. Like with my blog that I write every week, I post it on Facebook and I wait a couple of days and I go back in and I those 3 little dots and it says pin the post. And when you do that, it shows up on the top. So anybody comes to your Facebook page, that's the first thing they see. Even if you've put other stuff on since, it's up there front and center. So if you got an open house, you can pin it. So anybody comes to your page, they see open house 2 to 5 Sunday, Clay Court, whatever the case may be. Run sponsored Facebook ads for listings a week prior to the open house. Talk to Vincent about that. He can help you with that. He can create a Facebook ad. He can send it out into areas that you think are best as far as getting the most activity. 360 virtual tour. If you hadn't done it already with your listing, Vincent has a 360 camera and you can work with him at a reduced cost and he'll create a 360 virtual tour for you. Or if you obviously gotten the pictures taken and everything, you can use that as well. Go ahead.
How does this work if you're hosting it for somebody else?
Yeah.
You run the Facebook ad, you're at there?
Yeah. So Jennifer's question is how to do that if it's not my listing? Well, you just basically say, hey, can I hold this open house? And is it okay with you if I market it to generate as much activity as possible? The agent says, sure, that's great. They may not. If it's a farm area that they're doing, they may not want you to do the neighbors because that's what they're doing. So you work with them on that. But as far as a Facebook, you just, hey, this is Jennifer Kirby. I'm holding an open house for Pat Ranigan on Sunday, a colleague of mine at Howard Hanna. Love for you to stop by. And we look forward to seeing you, kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah, no problem with that. Also, Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor allows you to market home sales. And if you don't know what Nextdoor is, it's another social media site that you can sign up for in your neighborhood, and you can actually get information from other neighborhoods as well. They do allow for putting things like this in, and you just never know. You're trying to hit every place you can. All right, so then we get into the actual nuts and bolts of what we're doing here. We're going to choose an open house at least a week before. We're going to mail out cards and flyers. If it's your listing, you may want to get flyers out to other agents as well. That's where that constant contact email, we have that information for you. So you can say, hey, I want to do this open house from 2 to 5 on Sunday, and Mary or Kristen can help you put that together and email it out so that all the agents in the marketplace get it. You might do something a little bit different. You might, if you take a little extra time, and you might search the MLS and find the 20 agents that have had either listings in there or they were the selling agents in that neighborhood, and target them, because obviously they've done business in that neighborhood before. Just go into the MLS, go under sold, and then you can search. And then as you do that, you can go down and look at the listing agent. And once it's closed, it'll also have the selling agent in those, sold printouts. And that's just another way of targeting it. We were talking to an agent yesterday about a really cool listing that we're trying to get. And we're talking about it, and you wouldn't always do this, but you do a special open house for the 20 agents that you think are going to be the ones that have a buyer. This is a multi-million-dollar listing, and going to and getting those 20 list agents that you think are going to have a buyer and doing a little, wine and cheese thing just for those folks, exclusive to those agents, make them feel like, whoa, I got invited to this, nobody else did. And you can do the same thing in a $500,000 price range. You just go into that neighborhood and search for the listings over the last 6 to 8 months or 6 months to a year. And then also the selling agents, and just say, hey, I see that you do business as a neighborhood. I'm going to be doing a little happy hour wine and cheese thing on Thursday at 5 o'clock. I'd love for you to stop by. And it's different than the regular open house where everybody's getting it. They feel personally invited, right? And you might even use Evite in that situation where people literally get an email invite from you. And so yeah, just keep that in mind. We talked about follow up your cards and phone call after visits. Write an open house ad with mine. Add the open house into realtor.com, homes.com, point2agent.com, Car Paragon, Craigslist, Facebook, every place you can find to add it. You want it to go out there. We talked about the previewing, calling the agents, holding open houses, and agree to honor each other. This is another differentiator for you. Other agents aren't doing this. Other agents don't know what else is being held open, but because it's in your routine, you're searching to see what else is being held open that day. And hopefully you've previewed those houses already. And so I'd call Pat and say, hey, Pat, it's Michael Guthrie. I'm holding a house over on 2104 Brownstone Lane. This Sunday, I noticed that you're doing one on your listing in Carsbrook, off of Carsbrook. Yes, I am. Well, great. If I have anybody come by, would you mind if I send them your way? And I'll be giving them a flyer, and you honor me as the person who sent them to you. Pat goes, yeah, no problem. I said, hey, same thing the other way. If you have somebody that comes into yours and you think they might be interested in what's going on in Still Meadow, send them my way. The point being is you're going to be prepared to send them his way. He's not, and Pat will be, but the other agent is, maybe just give them a card and say, hey, 2104 is open. They don't have all the information and that kind of thing. And that's another way of showing that you're above and beyond professional in the way that you do things. But calling those other agents is another way to create traffic in there. We talked about the financial information. All right, we've talked about going to the store, the sign in with Gohanna. If you can have giveaways, some sort of, especially with the kids, go and get some balloons, blown up. And so they can take something away with them. Or if you can go into the Bop Shop, Gohanna. Bop Shop is the place where all the marketing stuff of Gohanna, go in there and find some inexpensive things to buy that you could have to hand out at, when Ben Fuller comes in here, he's always got something, right? He's got yardsticks, or he's got all sorts of different things with his name and logo on it that he's bought and he hands out to people. Have the signs up and be at the house 15 minutes early. If you can, get that, sign, the directionals up on, if you're doing it on Sunday, on Saturday, or even Friday, the directionals, and then on the sign itself saying, open Sunday. So when they go through there, they can see that this house is going to be held open on Sunday. So you get a little, priming the pump, if you will, people knowing that house is going to be open on Sunday. All right, spend hours preparing. Don't blow it now. Be prepared for anyone who might come in. Get them to sign in. Ask them questions, not to pry, but to get rapport. Don't let them get away just because they don't like this particular house. This is where your previewing comes in. Remember, you're not alone. Everyone's paranoid of coming across as hard sell. If you let them get out the door without finding what they want, you've lost them. And that goes back to the paper bag with the money in it. Following up, everyone you've made personal contact with should be sent a thank you note. Some people that come through the house should be sent thank you notes, and others should be called within 48 hours because you just get the feeling that they're doing something. They're getting ready to buy something, and you don't want the mail, waiting to get the mail or the email, following back up saying, hey, I'm really glad you came to my open house yesterday. I wanted, and this is where, again, having that handout, I wanted to see if you got a chance to go by and look at some of those other houses. Are there any that you would like to see? I'd love the opportunity to get together with you and talk about the process and show you a couple of those. When would be a good time to do that? I honestly think that Sundays are better than Saturdays. I just have never seen that Saturday open houses work very well. I think it's just because kids' activities and things like that. I mean, there's sometimes, it's Mother's Day or it's Father's Day or, whatever, something falls on a Sunday and you really want to hold it open. Most times, unfortunately, expectations of that are never met. But the point again being in regards to what I just said, and this is this last thing, is if you follow all these things I've just talked about, it's going to take you several hours to prepare, but and the time may seem prohibitive, but I promise you the time will be well spent. And the point of all that is this, that even if you held it open on Saturday, if you did all the stuff I just told you to do over the 7 or 8 days prior to Saturday, business is going to come to you. People are going to respond to you, and you're doing it on a regular basis every 2 weeks. This is in my marketing calendar. I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to find an open house to open, and you call up the agents and you say, hey, Kirsten, it's Michael. I see that you've got this new listing in wherever. I would love the opportunity to hold it open for you if you're going to hold it open and you don't have the time to do it yourself. You pick the ones you want to do. You find the ones that are in your wheelhouse, in an area that you want to market or an area that you really like. There's nothing wrong with an agent calling you and saying, will you hold it open? And you saying yes. But if you've previewed and you know that house, you may know that, hey, that's not a good house to hold open. And so you say to them, geez, I'm so sorry, but I can't do that. And that's why if you've got open houses already scheduled, it's really easy. You say, I'd love to do it, but I'm already doing one next Sunday and I'm already prospecting for that. I just don't have the time to do one this weekend, but I'd love to hold one open for you in the future. And then you see that Jim McVeigh gets a listing that you really like, and you call him up, say, hey, Jim, I couldn't do the last one, but if you're going to hold this one open, I'd love to do it. And then you're offering, you're in control of it. You're taking the initiative. And when you do all these things, again, like I said, even if nobody comes to the open house, you will have probably touched 20, 30 people that you wouldn't have touched, you wouldn't have gotten in touch with if it hadn't been for the fact that you were marketing that open house. Go ahead, Pat.
So if you're holding an open house for another agent, does that mean you're going to be there by yourself and they're not going to be there?
Most times,
Pretty
yeah.
much?
Yeah. There's sometimes that the agent will ask you to come and team up. I really think it's going to be busy. You want to do this together. And then what you do is you work out, okay, well, how's that going to work? Are we going to, every other person, I'm going to be responsible for, or, whatever the case may be. But in most situations, they're asking you to do it on your own.
And also, if you've never done one, it's accepted or normal procedure, maybe to hang out at a couple initially to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can do that without even asking permission. You know what's on you being held open. And so you just say, I'm out and about. To this day, I still go and look at open houses, even though I don't sell. And it's fascinating to me. I'll go in to these open houses because I just want to see how other people are doing things. And they'll say, hey, if you have a buyer, please let them know. And I'll say, well, actually, I don't sell. I'm not a selling broker. And almost every time the agent goes, boys, I wish my broker didn't sell. Right. But they're confused. Well, then why are you here? Well, I'm here because I'm trying to get to know the market well enough that I can advise my agents as to what's going on out there. They don't say this, but I'm also seeing if you've got an idea of marketing the open house or doing it in a way that I need to tell my agents, this is a good idea, trying to pick up some additional tips. So, yeah, so you don't need to ask permission. I mean, it's kind of nice if you see that Caitlin's holding Reeves Ford, which she just, put on the market yesterday, and you see she's holding it up, and just reach out to her and say, hey, you mind if I come hang out for an hour or so and watch how you do things, Beth Ann, you've done a lot of open houses. Have I missed anything? Logan, you too. Have I missed anything? You guys on mic, have I missed anything that folks need to know?
No, I mean, I think everything was great. I love the baking cookies idea. I've done that for a couple of open houses, and it makes the house smell awesome. And if they have kids, it keeps them occupied. The other thing I make sure I always do, especially this time of year, is have just small bottled waters.
Ah.
Because it's so hot outside. And so when they come in, they're like, oh man, it's hot, oh, can I get you a bottle of water? So it's kind of just a nice, and it's inexpensive, and then I often do open houses with another agent. I think Pat mentioned that. I kind of like to do it if I think there's going to be a decent turnout with another agent, because if you have multiple people come at the same time, it gives you the opportunity to both interact with clients on a one-on-one level and give them enough attention. So, yeah.
Yeah, Beth Ann, that's really good input. And I like the bottled water thing. And maybe, would you like some water, or would you like some, cold cider, but also, hey, here's a package of houses that you might want to go look at and hand it with a bottle of water, so that you're giving them kind of a kit as they walk out the door. That's a great idea. Thank you. Logan, what do you think?
I think the shadowing is a huge, huge learning experience. I did that maybe longer than I had to, but I shadowed quite a few different people, and everybody has their own way of doing things. And you can pick up a little bit of something here and there from everybody and use it to how it works best for you. But I think shadowing is great when you first start.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that input. Other thoughts?
I've done a couple of them, and I've always get asked a question that I don't know about the house. And I know you can always say, oh, I'll get back to you, but it still just creates such an awkward situation. And I don't know how to do it in a way that doesn't sound like, and especially if they ask two questions in a row that you don't know. And I don't know how to handle
So that Jennifer's asking a great question about if they ask questions about the house that you know the answer. So I'm going to answer it two different ways. The first one is, it's a really good idea, one, to preview the house before you walk into it to hold it open, right? And two, if you can, have the agent meet you there and tour it together, so that you can ask any questions about things, or they can tell you, certain things and take some notes. So in that way, if somebody asks you, you may very well have the answer. But the second way I'd answer it is, there's nothing ever wrong with saying, you know what, I don't know, but I will get back to you, versus guessing. Because when you guess and you're wrong, that can, be awful. Like, is this public water or is it septic? Kind of thing. Sewer or septic. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I learned they were supposed to say, that's a great question. I don't want to steer you wrong, so let me look into it.
Yeah. And you can even say, to help yourself, you can say, you know what, that's a great question that didn't come up when I toured the property with the listing agent the other day. So you're communicating, I did my homework, but that's just something I didn't think about. So I don't want to steer you wrong. I will get back to you. Another great way of getting their information, if you didn't get it already, because if they have interest, they're going to give you that information. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and try to stay cool out there. Bye now.
Thank you.